Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Today I'm playing Losing to Combo, also known as Green Cloudpost. Today's video will be brought to you fully in crisp 1080p, and I've also been working on some noise suppression things on the recording software, and I made some changes in my editing software, so the sound should sound a lot better, and by the time the video following this comes out, it's going to sound much better. So stay tuned. I play this deck at F&M. There are some slight differences between this online list and my paper list, namely the lack of Moloch. That's one of those 40k cards that hasn't made it to MTGO yet. Here's Moloch. This little guy, you can green sun for X equals 2, and it comes in as a 2/2. It will then fight a Magus of the Moon. That is the main reason to have this. It just gives you 5 more outs to Magus of the Moon. Besides that, you can just cast it for X and fight any number of things and exile them, which is pretty sweet. I've exiled Urros with this before. It's pretty great. However, we don't have that on MTGO. To replace that, I'm using Root Path Purifier. I still find that having a green sunnable answer to Magus is good. I don't like that this is a 4-drop. I do like that it's a 3/4. I do like that it insulates against Wasteland a little bit, so we could potentially get it if we're against a land strategy or something else. It's another layer of protection beyond naming Wasteland with Pithing Needle. Another main difference that I have here compared to other stock lists is I'm on the 3 Warping Whale. I've trimmed Expedition Map for the whales, and I have trimmed Ramanap Excavator. In recent times, I find that I never green sun for Excavator. I almost never want it. Warping Whale gives me answers to all the nasty sorceries in Legacy, Natural Order, Doomsday, Show and Tell. The Exile Target Creature mode also hits many things in Legacy. It hits opposing Reclaimers before they get big. It hits Emery, Sai, Painter, Goblin Welder, Goblin Engineer. There's so many things with power, toughness, 1 or less. Any number of things out of D&T, Delver, or DRC before they get big. I find this card to be great, so I'm running 3. In the lands package, we have the normal 4 Cloudpost, 4 Glimmerpost, Caracas, Chasm, Depths, Eye, Cavern. I have 8 green sources across all of these between the Besejus, the Forest, the Avamaya. I have 2 fetches and I'm running a Taiga. This is a little bit different from the stock list. I do this in paper, namely because I can hard cast the Moloch besides just having Cavern of Souls, naming Tyrannid. The other thing that this does is that it lets me cast Fire Spout out of the sideboard. Now this is a little techie thing that I've been trying. I've been enjoying it a lot, bringing in against Elves or D&T, even Delver if I can hit them while their creatures are still small. This also can just be cast for green mana and just hit all flying creatures, which against Delver obviously that's pretty good. I've been enjoying this a lot, so I'm trying the Taiga. I have the Tabernacle main board with a Maze of Ith sideboard. I kind of flip-flop between the two. Sometimes I don't run Maze at all. We're trying it this way today. Another thing I'm trying here is Tower of the Magistrate. I saw some people talking about this recently and I like it a lot. Targeting a Germ token makes the Cauldron fall off. And with all these people playing Staff of the Storyteller, Stoneforge Mystic decks, I think having an answer to Cauldron like that is pretty great. Besides that, there's not too much weird going on here. We're just going to be losing to combo over and over again, but that's the way it goes with this deck. I'm going to hope to pair into some fair blue decks. I have Emrakul the Promised End instead of Kozilek. I haven't enjoyed Kozilek in quite some time. I find it to be a little bit redundant. Just drawing 4 cards isn't the best. It is another Annihilator creature, but it just gets answered usually. Emrakul at least lets me take control of my opponent and really screw them up. Sometimes people just concede to the trigger. Besides that, we have the normal crop rotations, Elvish Reclaimers to actually have some interaction for Bog and such. And 1 Endurance main and 3 in the side. I think 4 across the 75 is pretty important. For Once Upon a Time, this basically functions as part of the mana base, of course. We can find a green source with it. I have the Collector Oof main deck. Some people play this in the sideboard, but I like having it main deck on MTGO. I think there's enough decks, 8 cast and Storm and everything. If I can get it in there, it can really shut them down. Outland Liberator as well as a 1-of I think is really important just to be able to pop any number of Hateful Things or pop an Urza Saga if they play it on turn 2. The 2 Fairy Macabres I have over Surgical because they can't be countered. It's great against Cephalid Breakfast, which is really relevant in the format right now, as well as like Oops All Spells, Reanimator, or you name it. Carpet of Flowers comes in against any blue deck, that's pretty obvious. It gives us really good game against Delver. The Force of Vigors, and I have one Bane of Progress instead of the Force of Vigor, which is a personal little thing. I like this card. It shines sometimes, and I have yet to regret it. I bring it in against Enchantress and blow them out sometimes. It feels good. That's basically it. Let's get into it and let's try to get some turn 3 prime times and win the game. Alright, let's get started here in round 1. This hand has a lot of lands in it. It has ramp. We have our locust lands, but we're not going anywhere with it. I am tempted to keep, but I'm also very tempted to mulligan. Because it's game 1, I am going to keep it. We are on the draw. Once upon a time could find a reclaimer, and we have the green source. So I'm going to keep it for game 1. Polluted Delta, that could be any number of things. I am tempted to play the Foothills, and then once upon a time to play around Days. I'm going to do that. I also don't know if they're a Wasteland deck. They look like they might be Death Shadow or something like that. Backup Beseiju. I don't want Chasm in my hand. End of story. So I'm taking Beseiju. They didn't fetch Watergrave in the end step. They're just playing land go again. I'm a little concerned that they're Doomsday, but we will see. I'm just going to go Cloudpost go. I'm hoping they're a control deck here. Savannah looks like they might be a control deck. They have a lot of colors over there. They might be some sort of 4-color loam. Okay, it's an Uro strategy, yep. So on my turn, I'm going to play the Beseiju as a land, and then I can cast Endurance. I could also just play the Forest. I think that's better because it's one less land that can get wastelanded. And I'm going to Endurance on their upkeep, because that way they can't just play a land and jam Uro. They don't have the cards to escape it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, so I'm not going to do it on their upkeep. They are Allurin. I'm really happy that I have Beseiju in hand. Okay. Okay, they are just passing priority. I think I'm going to just play Endurance for free. Now, the way you get these Allurin decks is when they put Cavern Harpy on the stack, that's when you answer Allurin. I'll put their Uro away. Reclaimer's free, and I can also play it on their end step, so I will just attack, see what they do. And I will play a Vesuva copying the post. Cabal Therapy. Now, they can't name Beseiju with that. I'm going to flash in Reclaimer, and then they can't name anything that's in my hand currently. Rex Sage, yeah. Good thinking, but you can't get through double Beseiju here. There's a Brainstorm, sure. And I can do both Beseijus since this taps for 2 currently. On my turn, I'm going to play Stage. Okay, they're Abrupt Decaying. The Reclaimer. I don't have a response. Yep, that just happens. Warping Whale's cool. I'm still just going to play the Stage, and then I can use it to copy the post and get more mana, and then we're just trying to draw one of our big threats. Green Sun, Prime Time, etc. I just need to be careful not to pass priority if they put Cavern Harpy on the stack. Second Allurin. Okay, that is an issue. Luckily I have the 2 Beseijus, but that is certainly an issue. So if I tap for 2, copy, then I have 2 green, green, I can still double Beseiju. Okay. Tempted to just run out the bog. I wish I had a 3rd green source here, but I don't. Gonna attack. They fetched a lot of non-basics, so an Ice Fang would not have Death Touch. I'm just gonna play the Glimmer here and just continue holding up double Beseiju. Okay, they're fetching. Now if I actually copy a Forest with this, then I can use Once Upon a Time and still hold up double Beseiju. Okay, there's a Recruiter. I don't respond to this. Recruiter for another recruiter. Okay, so let me remind myself how this works. This just lets them recruit again. It's the Harpy that's the major problem, because then they can just bounce it back to their hand, but this doesn't... Unless they have another Arctic Merfolk. Could be the case. Maybe this is the time to do it. Maybe in response to the recruiter was the time to do it. Because now they can then cast their recruiter in response. Okay, they let the first one go. I have to fetch. Okay, so they do have another one. They're at 10 life, so they can't just draw 20 cards. So what I can do is I can Warping Whale the Cavern Harpy and make them activate it once again. So they're going to return this, and then they're going to kick... Oh wait, that thing has a counter on it. Oh. Okay. Yep, at least just make them do it. Another recruiter. Yeah, so this is just infinite drain. Yeah, the second Allurin just killed us. That's unfortunate. I probably should have responded to the first recruiter. You never see this deck. So weird. Okay, so these come in. Fire Spout being sorcery, I think doesn't matter in this matchup. Carpet is pretty good. Fairy Macabre can get their Uros, but that's not really for this matchup. Collector Oof, I don't think matters. Root Path Purifier doesn't matter. Emrakul the Promised End could really get them, I think. Warping Whale, I think this is actually one matchup where it's not really good because everything they do can just be at instant speed. It can potentially, if they're gonna do like Cavern Harpy bouncing a Coatl and just go back and forth and try to draw into the infinite, then it makes sense. So I can keep a couple copies. I think Glacial Chasm isn't what we need in this matchup. Same with Tabernacle. Dark Depths could be a way to win the game pretty quickly, so I'll keep that. Bojuka Bog can clear their Uro if they're going for like an Uro game plan. So I'm going to bring these in, at least one Carpet. I think just a couple crop rotations because they are like a Force of Will Daze deck. We get to be on the play this time. No green source. That hurts. I'm going to mull. This one's certainly better. I can keep and put the redundant Once Upon a Time back. There's the green source. I will just fetch a basic. I'm not sure that they're a wasteland deck. I don't think they are. I never play against Allurin. You never see this deck. Forcing, sure, whatever. That's a good draw. If I play post, next turn I play this, it taps for 2. The only issue is I can't play and hold up 1. I would need to tap it. Or wait. 2 green. Yes, I can. Because the Glimmer Post will come in. So we'll just play the post. Cool draw. I'm not going to fire it off this turn. I'm just going to put the Liberator in play. Maybe an Uro from the opponent. Maybe a Recruiter. Looks like Uro, yep. Now I'm just going to play Bog from hand and get that. So I have instant lands. I have 3 types in my graveyard. Excuse me. Emrakul costs 10. If I crop rotate the bog into a Cloudpost, that's 3, 6, 7, 8 mana. So then another land off the top gets me very close. Alternatively, I could try to get to this prime time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Crop rot. If it resolves, I can get Cavern and put prime time into play, but I don't want to tap out for that. At any rate, I'm not cropping right now. Academy Rector. Okay, so this is interesting. If they manage to sacrifice that, I could crop rot for Vesuva copying Bog and then get rid of it. I wonder if they have Omniscience in the deck or if it's only for getting Allurin. At any rate, I can't attack with this because they would just block and then it dies and triggers. I think I'm going to give myself the best shot here of casting Emrakul. If I get Cavern, any untapped land off the top casts Primeval Titan, but then I'm sitting with my shields down being able to activate the Werewolf. Okay, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Instant land creature. Yeah, I'm 1 short. 3, 4, 5, 6. I get to cast this. Now the question is there something here that helps me survive if they do jam Allurin and somehow they don't care about the Trap Breaker? Because I can obviously just get Cloudpost, Eye of Ugin, and that will allow me to go into Emrakul Town next turn, but is there anything else? He's entered tapped, so I don't think so. I think it's just do that, and then hope that Trap Breaker holds up for 1 turn. I'm not attacking because this thing will trigger. And there it is. There's the Recruiter. Yikes. Did I learn my lesson from last game? Do I just do it now and hope they don't have the Harpy? I guess so. Ah, that's unfortunate. They always have like 50 copies of everything they need in their 4-card hand. Yeah, this matchup always sucks. This is what I was talking about. We're just going to lose to combo this league. We were 1 turn short. Like next turn we were going to go 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's activate and cast Coolamog, or just cast this and then cast all their stuff and mess them up, you know. Oh well, let's hopefully we get some more fair decks after this. Alright, let's jump into round 2. We are on the draw again. This hand looks pretty good. It's not the greatest hand ever, but it's not too bad either. I'm hoping that Once Upon a Time finds me a green source, of course. Oh, great, we're against Reanimator on the draw. That's amazing. I'll just let them do it. Taking crop rotation makes sense on their part. When do these decks not have the turn 1 plus the grief? I feel like never. They always have it. Now I'm going to use this, since they took the other one. Didn't find the Caracas, which is really what I was looking for. None of these are good. I could probably just concede, but I'm just playing towards the top deck Caracas. If they go really deep and somehow don't get like an Archon into play. Nope. Yeah, I'm not going to play it out. So Maze of Ith is actually pretty good. We bring in a lot of cards for this matchup. This. If they only have 1 monster, Maze can just hold it back. I don't need the Cavern. Chasm can do things. Tabernacle is not really what we want here. Tower at least taps for colorless, so I'm going to keep it. Collector, they do have Lotus Petals, but that's really not what this is for. Liberator can hit They're animate deads, so definitely keep that in. Root Path is not for this matchup at all. And here's where things get a little weird. I can keep some of these, but what I've experienced in the past is they'll Thoughtseize a Titan and then reanimate it. So this is actually a way to go against them. And then keep, I guess, Promised End. Maybe it's Coolamog because I can exile their creature if they already have one in play. But Promised End, if I've been holding them back, I could potentially just like cast all their dark rituals and stuff and leave them hanging. I think it's Coolamog that I keep and just bring in this big old pile of cards, and hopefully that's good enough. So this hand only has Bog as a land. Otherwise we have 2 pitch cards but only 1 card to pitch. Needle and Grizzlebrand, this is a tap land so I can't even do that. Get a mulligan. This hand has the Crop but no green source. I have the Caracas, which is cool and all, but besides that, not looking good. I'm gonna go to 5. This is definitely the best hand of all. I really don't want to put one of my 2 lands back, but that might be what I have to do. I unfortunately don't have a crop rotation. I'm looking at Green Sun. I can either play Reclaimer and hope I survive a turn. I can Needle Grizzlebrand. I think Green Sun is one of the putbacks. I'm really just looking at this tower. Alternatively, maybe it is just Needle and then I play Reclaimer, hold up Endurance. I think Needle and Grizzlebrand can sometimes work, but if it's in play, they know to just entomb something else. Yeah, the problem is they're just going to Thoughtseize, take the Endurance, and do their thing. If I didn't have to mold a 5, maybe I would have another layer, like a crop, but nope. Just hopefully they have a slow start. Turn 1 Thoughtseize and pass. Oh, they really just always have it. Endurance is the obvious take. Okay, that's actually kind of promising. Now just hopefully they don't discard. Hopefully they don't follow this up with a reanimate. Oh my goodness, we're getting a turn. Okay. Now please do not draw Bojuka Bog. If I do, I can play it, but I want to hold up Reclaimer. Okay. I'm not attacking. I'm holding up Reclaimer for Bog. Pedal. Yeah. They're passing. Now the question is, I don't think I just go get Bog and Bog that. It is tempting, because they probably don't have any instant speed stuff. What else am I getting? Fetch land to make Reclaimer bigger. Caracas, just in case. Maze of Ith, I can attack and then untap my Reclaimer, except that doesn't tap for mana. Depths and work towards that, but that doesn't tap for mana either. I'm getting Caracas. Okay. We're working towards a Dark Depths kill. Sure. Okay. Interesting. Alright. They hit their fail rate over there, I guess. I don't think I change anything about this. Fire Spout can hit their griefs if they do like a grief thing, but I don't think that's what I want to do. Only problem with having Coolamog in the deck is if they Thoughtseize it and reanimate it, so I'm really on the fence about that. I could take that out, take the eye out, bring back in Cavern because it at least taps for mana, and I need one more thing to bring in. Collector Roof can attack. It at least shuts off their Lotus Petals. Bane of Progress, if we somehow end up in a long game, it can pop Animate Dead, but that doesn't sound very relevant at all. Just gonna bring in Oof. We're on the draw now, so rip. No turn 0 interaction, Bog in hand, no way. I have Endurance, I have Needle, it's only a 1-lander. This is a yikes. I think I'd rather go to 5 than just have 1 pitch card that they Thoughtseize and then they can go completely ham bananas. Mulligan. Okay. Yep. Rewarded for going to 5. I keep the green source. I put back Vesuva. I need to just put Glimmerpost back, I guess. This is just about the best 5 I could ask for, genuinely. They kept 7 again. Come on. Reanimator's supposed to mulligan to like 4, okay? Double Grizzle. Hopefully Fairy Macabre gets to get him right now. Yep, awesome. This is why I put this in the deck. Yes. We're alive. Reclaimer. I'm going to hold up crop rotation. I'm not going to mess around with just playing Reclaimer. Another green source off the top would be nice. That is the opposite of nice. I could just play Reclaimer now. They can't take me off Endurance green card with 1 Thoughtseize. They would need 2 Thoughtseizes. I'm going to do it. I need to get something on board. Try to make it so they can't activate Grizzlebrand too many times if they do get one in. Fetch in the end step, I guess, to just thin. They're entombing. Okay. Now the question is, do I pitch crop or do I pitch the endurance? They're both functionally hate. I think I pitched the redundant endurance because I have the one land currently to cast the crop. They're down to one land in hand, but we have a very slow clock. That could potentially counter reanimate in the future if we find a colorless source. Come on, land please. Untapped land please. I can't cast that and put down crop rotation, no way. Show and tell. You know, Warping Whale would be freaking sweet. Hopefully, it's weird to say hopefully it's Grizzlebrand, but hopefully it is, or Atraxa. I can just get Karakas and bounce it. Cropping now doesn't do anything. Yeah. I can put Needle in, that's cool. What is it? Oh man, that's the worst one. Still just name Grizzle. Since I only have one land in play, Chasm isn't really coming to save the day. There's a land a few turns too late. I guess cropping from Maze keeps me alive. Hardcast Grief. Let's see, do I even have any outs at this point now that Archon's in play? I don't think so, since I sorted out all the Titans. They had an amazing 2 cards in their hand after. I mean, they took a few draw steps, but still, that was just, they went off and then they went off again, and then they show and told with Archon. Like, wow. Yeah, whatever. Good game. Hey everybody, we're a few rounds into the league now, and if you made it this far, please consider giving a like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment if you have any suggestions for the videos, if I'm too loud or too soft, if you want the game volume up a little bit, if you want to hear those taps and snaps of the cards on MTGO, just let me know. Any comment will help promote my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next round. Alright, we just got paired into round 3 and we're on the draw again. That's 0 for 3. No green source yet again. The Titan in hand was basically a 6-card hand already. Let's go to 6. This is better. Keep. Bog in hand is usually not good. Tab in hand can be good, can be bad. It depends on the matchup, so I'm putting Bog back. Please be a fair Staff of the Storyteller deck or something, opponent. Even Delver. Saga, okay. I can Needle that. Wouldn't be surprised if they force the Needle. Okay, there's a post. Post or stage. I think in this spot it's the post. I'm going to play this and try to get a Needle in right now. Name Urza Saga. Please resolve. It resolved. Let's go. No constructs. They might have an answer for it or something, but that's fine. So the question is if they're 8 cast or Painter. Okay, it looks like Painter. Yep. I can name that with the next Needle. And now I don't have to worry about Force of Will since I know that they're red Painter. Oh, okay, there's the Grindstone. This next Needle I can name Engineer. The alternative is playing Grindstone, but just letting them use their Engineer and get that engine running sounds bad. If they have another Painter in hand, it's 2, and then they would need 3 more to activate Grindstone, so they would need an Ancient Tomb, but they don't have Metalcraft yet. I think it's fairly safe to name Engineer, but I'm not sure. I think it makes the most sense, because if I name Grindstone, they just spin the Grindstone into a Painter, and then they have that in play. However, if I just let them do that, then I can Warping Whale their Painter, and then they're just expending resources doing all that. I think I just talked myself into that. I do have the 3rd Needle coming up. I can name Engineer if they like play another one and get a Dragon Engine in there or something. And the funny thing is I don't care too much if they grind me because of Emrakul in my deck. The Urza Saga will pop, and if they're smart, they'll get Soul Guide. I could have just played Tabernacle here to tax them, but I'll do that in the future. I'm not afraid of an Engineer with only a Painter Servant in the graveyard right now. Yes, they did get the Soul Guide. Okay, yeah, Fable's annoying. They currently don't have red mana to activate Engineer. Playing Tabernacle seems good, but also Vesuvian Cloudpost, playing the Needle and holding up Warping Whale sounds okay. Reclaimer. I think I want to get that in play. I'm going to play the other Needle and Engineer, restrict their options. I don't want them to be able to loop Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, popping that makes sense, but I'm not naming that. You don't have red mana. Oh, Spirit Guide. Yeah, okay. They're getting the Painter. Okay. Now the question is if this changes my name at all. I don't think so. I could name Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. They currently don't have anything scary to copy with Reflection, and now I have Reclaimer going. I'm slowly getting there on being inevitable. I'm just going to keep them from looping Soul Guide and drawing extra cards and stuff. And we'll put that in, make them pay 3 mana. This should keep them off Hardcast Fury for quite some time. Reflection. It doesn't show the power and toughness of Reflection. I don't remember what it is. Petal, sure. I'm gonna pay with the green, so then I can play Vesuva, copying Post, and hold up Whale. Beseju's good in the matchup. I'm holding up Whale and Reclaimer activation, or one or the other. Beseju can just be a land drop if I draw a Primeval Titan or something. Hutu. Attacking with Painter is sus. I'm not gonna fall for their tricks. I don't know what they have. Bolt kills Reclaimer either way. Okay. Now the question is, are we done with Tabernacle now? I think I want to keep it around. I kind of want to turn the forest into another Cloudpost, and then I'm untapping into a whole bunch of mana. If I find a green sun, I can do a really big green sun. Alternatively, just turning the Tabernacle into something else at this point seems okay. I could do that next turn. 3, 6. If I turn this into Post, and then next turn get Eye, then I 3, 6, 9, 10 plus I. Yeah, I'm keeping Tab around for now, for sure. So I'm not ready to do the whole kit and caboodle yet. Dark Depths kills this deck pretty handily a lot of the time. I think that's actually I'm gonna get Stage, except for the fact I have to pay 1 right now. Yeah, I didn't think about that. There's a green sun. So 2, rotate, and then yeah, I'm 1 shy of the depths right now. But now that I have a green sun, I could green sun for prime time on this next turn. I could also just play this turn cycle over one more time and do the depths thing next turn, which I kind of like that. That doesn't require any spells that get hit by Red Blast. So for now I can copy one of these. So I pay with Beseju, and then I'm holding up at least 2 for Reclaimer, and then at least 2 for Stage. I'm going to copy this. And there's the prime time, but I'm just gonna go for depths. I could have played this very differently and tried to cast these green cards. Letting the Painter die here is interesting. Okay, they just concede. I think they see what's gonna happen. Okay, Fire Spout is good here. It's kind of what this is for, because they're gonna bring in Magus of the Moon for sure. Force of Vigor, Bane of Progress, good. Maze, not so good. I prefer the Tabernacle. Cavern is good because they could Pyroblast things. Warping Whale hits their painters and such, and their welders. I like that. Root Path also, it's here for Magus. Tower, they're not like an equipment deck, so that's kind of not what this is for. Bog can stop welder stuff, so that's good. Oof is good. Liberator is good. A lot of these cards are good. Endurance is pretty good in certain spots. Other spots it's a little bit mid. Do I want Promised End here? Maybe not. Maybe that's the trim. And then I'm kind of just bringing in better things than Warping Whale in my Force of Vigors and such. So let's just kind of upgrade these. Pithing Needle, I had the 3 Pithing Needles that game. Yeah, let's keep those. Beseju is obviously great. They didn't see the Dark Depths. Who knows if they even are thinking about it or if they just figured that I was going to untap an Eldrazi. Chasm, it can have context if they're on like a construct game plan. Maybe I don't bring in Bane, but it is pretty good. I have certainly got people with it before. I'm going to try like this. So Root Path in hand, no basic forest, but Force of Vigor is cool, Endurance is cool, I have land drops to make. I'm gonna keep. I don't want to go to 6 if I don't have to. If I'm holding up Crop Rotation, I can Crop Rot for a basic in response to their Magus of the Moon, if that's the route they take. They might make me bog them though with this Beseju. I'm playing Taiga and Passing. Okay, the Saga, maybe they'll play out another artifact. I think what I'm gonna do is play Stage or Glimmer Post. I think it's Glimmer in this spot. And then on their upkeep, I'm going to Beseju the Urza Saga. That way I'm still hanging on to my Force. Okay, I can use this for free still. Liberator's good. So is Cloudpost. Cloudpost gives me the ramp that I need. Liberator is just another answer, and I already have some answers in my hand. So I actually am going to take Cloudpost. And I'm going to play the Glimmer, gain 1. And I'm going to do what I said. Go to their upkeep and Beseju. If I can keep them from making constructs, that seems good to me. Construct Beatdown is one of the main ways that deck can beat this deck. Just checking there. So they have 4 mana now. There is the Magus. Unfortunately, they caught me with my pants down a little bit, so I can't crop for a forest. But I do have this in my hand, so as soon as I find a green source, we're looking okay. I also have the out of drawing Fire Spout. Hey, there it is. Look at that. I think I want to just have them be stuck under their own Magus for like one more turn. I'm not just going to use it this turn. Play that as a mountain. Yeah, I'm going to let them just, maybe they'll play out like an engineer. They probably think they really just have me. Now, the only bad thing that could happen here is they play a painter and then they have red blasts. They didn't attack. That's very odd. Okay, I guess they're afraid of something. I don't know what. Interesting. The fact that they didn't attack makes me want to just keep playing land go for a little bit, because I'm still at 19. Okay, now they're getting in. There's a prime time. So this can become a basic as soon after I use Fire Spout, and I can hold up crop. I think I'm gonna do it now. I could have held up like stage. That's probably a mistake, but it's okay. I really don't feel threatened by them. They haven't cast anything for several turns. Oh shit. I just hit the number 1 key. Yikes. That's really bad, dude. These things that never happen in paper because it's impossible to misclick. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that's so irritating, because if I just had a basic forest, like, we're fine. Praise the Lord. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Just fetch now. Stop. Stop this. Okay, and then I can crop for whatchamacallit, depths, and kill them. For once, the magic gods were kind. They knew I should have fetched, and that was BS. Okay, so painter, I have the force of vigor for that, which I would pitch the green sun in this spot. Okay, yeah, you get that in. I still have Emrakul in my deck anyway. They're spewing off a Pyroblast. Okay, now make the mana to do all of this now. Crop Rot, the Caracas, Depths, and so unless they have like Dead Gone. There we go, okay. Whew, yeah, I feel like this matchup's not bad. You just have to not misclick. Okay, on to round number 4? 4. Alright, we're getting into round 4 here, and I lost the die roll for the 4th time. Can we get 5 in a row? We'll see. This hand is okay. I just, as usual, kind of have to hope that they're not just going to combo me off, because there's no crop rotation or anything. But I'm going to keep this as a very reasonable into a fair deck. I'm hoping to play against a Staff of the Storyteller deck. They just kind of dirtle around forever. Okay, so it looks like they're 8 cast for sure. They saw a green sun, so I don't have to worry about Wasteland here, I think. I can Needle Urza Saga. I'm gonna use this now. Maybe we'll find Endurance. No. I don't think I would need Root Path. I think it's just Cloudpost out of the options here. Let's see if they LED Echo of Eons. Double LED. Uh-oh. Infernal Tutor. Is this some sort of weird storm deck? Peer into the Abyss? Adnos. So they are like a storm deck. Alright, well, we get to see what's going on in their deck. They've hit a bunch of mana and duresses so far. There's a Burning Wish. They probably have it now. And there's a Tendrils. Yeah, they certainly have it now. I don't see any Wish Claw. That doesn't mean they don't have it. But they have Mishra's Baubles. I guess this is that Black Saga Storm deck. Still, I don't see any Sagas, but they probably have it. I'm not gonna make them play it out. I guess they could mess it up. I'll just F6. But I'm just thinking about when I play a Needle, if I play a Needle, what do I name? So all I've seen so far is Baubles. Although they are likely... I'll just concede now. They are likely that there's a Saga type thing. So they appear to be mono black. They're not Echo of Eons. So the Collector Roof is already in the deck. The Warping Whales are already in the deck. Endurances could come in just to be a force on the board. The Force of Vigors definitely should come in. Fire Spout, if they do have like Urza Saga constructs, and if they're only like 3/3s, it could do something, but I think that's not really where I want to be. I don't think it's a Tabernacle matchup. Dark Depths could be my way to win quickly. Chasm is probably not, it's probably not a Chasm matchup either. That doesn't stop Tendrils. I don't think it's a Root Path matchup, and I could trim one of the big Eldrazi. Promised End could win the game because I could just cast all their stuff and cast all their dark rituals and pass the turn. But Aeon's Torn is kind of, it's the hardest one to cast because it's so big. And the question is, do I want to make room for Endurance? I didn't see any actual graveyard synergy, just LEDs, so I don't think Macabre comes in. I could trim a Prime Time for an Endurance. I still have the Green Suns, I still have 2 Prime Times if we somehow get into a longer game. Having all this top end may be too much for the matchup. I may actually just want the Endurances. I could just keep Promised End and 1 Prime Time. Is there anything else that's just dead in the matchup? No. Depths can be my way to win. Otherwise, try it like this. We keep hitting these fast combo decks. This has been kind of unlucky pairings in this league. So I have the Force of Vigor and I have an Endurance. I have a once. This is fine. Green Sun can get me to oof if we survive a couple turns. If they play out an LED, I could make them crack it when they don't want to crack it with the Force. They're mulling. I like to see that. Okay, they kept 6. Let's use this. There's a Reclaimer. So the question is, do I want to play a Reclaimer now, or do I just want to make sure I have my land drops to get oof as quickly as possible? I think just grabbing the Yavimaya here makes sense for the oof, and then casting Endurances after that. Reclaimer can represent a bog, but I didn't see them actually using the graveyard, so I am not holding anything up for 1 mana, so I'm just playing Cloudpost. Get the top land out of the way, and just hopefully they don't turn 1 me through Force of Vigor. Okay, that's gross. Force of Vigor is probably the take, yes. Now if they still turn 1 me now after that, that's pretty messed up. Oh, that's a nice draw. I'm very happy to see that. So it's just land go. Next turn, go for oof. Maybe they'll try to play it in Urza Saga game. Okay, Mishra. Okay, they're doing something. There's an LED. There's no point in Force of Vigoring with that on the stack or whatever. They had the turn to... Is there any reason to Force of Vigor that? I don't think so. They have a whole bunch of mana. They have 1 mana after they add Naws. Or wait, does add Naws cost 4? I don't remember. There is no reason to Endurance. Okay, that's that. They've already made a land drop. There's a Wish Claw. There's a Petal. Okay, so they found a source of mana that's not LED. Now they have Petal for Dark Ritual. They're cracking Bauble. Yeah, they went to 4. I don't think they have it. They have Petal, Dark Ritual, and then Infernal Tutor, but they can Infernal Tutor crack LED, actually. If they miss sequence and play out the LED first, I can get them. Yep. Very lame. Now they just get Tendrils. Yeah, they just successfully played around Force of Vigor. And I don't have Crop Rot for like Chasm, or well, Chasm doesn't matter. That's that. We've queued into 4 combo decks. Let's try to get the 2 and 3. Okay, here we are in the final round, and we finally won a die roll, so I didn't go 0-5 for die rolls. This hand is not the greatest. I can blind name Wasteland with Needle and just make land drops slowly holding up. I can hold up Warping Whale, but this is pretty gross. I'm gonna mulligan. This looks a lot better. I'm gonna keep. And I'm gonna put the redundant Needle back. Done. I'm gonna play Forest, and I'm not gonna run out Needle because I don't know what they are yet. Blind naming Needle and Wasteland, I just don't need to do that. What I could do is just use once, look for a Reclaimer. I'm gonna do that. Okay, found a bunch of lands. I guess the Cloudpost is the take. And they know what we are now. We're representing crop rotation, even if we don't have it. Alright, please, can we get 1 fair deck out of the 5? Doesn't look like it. Okay, I can't do anything about that. So a Thoughtseize deck, they could be Reanimator or they could be Doomsday. The fact that it's Underground Sea looks more like Doomsday. It also could be Storm again. They took the Green Sun. That tells me they're like possibly a little bit afraid of me green sunning for like oof, I guess. So I'm kind of smelling Storm again. I'm gonna play this to hold up Crop. I'm gonna name Wishclaw, and if they're Doomsday and I should have named like Edge of Autumn, then so be it. Brainstorm, it could still be any of those decks. I am still just going to hold up crop rotation because I still don't know if I would need it for bog or whatever. If I had played out Cloudpost last turn, we'd be looking at untapping into primetime this upcoming turn. If I crop rotate on this turn cycle, thinking, yeah, I don't think there's a way I can cast primetime right now. If I get another Cloudpost that's 2/4 and a green, It would be, I would have to top deck a green source. I think holding up crop is better. There's the green source. No way to know that, and crop rotation at least represents interaction, and I don't know what they're doing yet. Maybe they're just like Grixis control. That would be nice. Looking stormy. Oh, okay. They're like Echoes? Echo Vions? Dothy. Maybe they're a Helm deck. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna fire it off. I'm gonna give myself the best chance if it resolves. I'm gonna get another post and then I have a ton of mana. Okay, it doesn't resolve. All right, maybe we'll keep Green Source Primetime. Oh yeah, because Hull Breacher, so I actually don't get any. So true. This is a weird deck. I see. Great. They're doing 6 per turn to me right now. Chances are they'll make me like put this away. I'm just gonna hold it for 1 turn. I really don't want to sacrifice my forest. They're casting my Primetime. They are a Wasteland deck. Well, that's good to know. Whew, it's not looking good. I don't remember the last time I've won in 4. These matchups have just been absolutely insane. I'm playing that out just to give them another Wasteland target. It doesn't matter at this point, because I'm going to have to crop rotate it away, and then what? Then they're attacking for 9. I'll have 2, 4, 5 mana if I get a Cloudpost. They're also just going to counter it, I guess. Yeah, okay, that I've had enough. So there's some sort of crazy Hull Breacher Burning Inquiry thing. They have Wastelands. Fire Spouts come in. Maze seems okay, but they're not. Maze is more for like Murktide, or like Kappa Cannoneer and pay for the ward. Force of Vigor, I'm smelling like Helm, probably. Carpets can definitely come in. They had a bunch of blue. Bog, I don't know if Bog will really be relevant. Echo Vions never gives you priority. Depths can probably come out because decks like that typically have some sort of answer, like bounce spells and stuff, and if I'm going for depths, it can screw me up. Root Path can stay in for once because they are a Wasteland deck. Maybe all 3 Titans can stay. Oof, they did have, they made treasures, but I think keeping it just to turn off their treasures, like if they're already wheeling me with Hull Breacher in play, then we're past the point of playing Oof and trying to win. Needle can name Wasteland. Chasm can save the day if we're not completely under the gun like that. If I'm at least making land drops. Endurance, I don't think they're like a straight up graveyard deck, so I think that can come out. Liberator, I'll keep it just in case. Maybe they are like a Helm Leyline thing in there along with everything else. It's probably not like actually a Tabernacle matchup. Like it could possibly slow them down, but I think they're only going to have 1 or 2 creatures maximum. The question is, do I want to make room for any Force of Vigor? Based on what they showed me, no. So this hand only has 1 land in it. That is not going to work. This hand has lands. It doesn't have a Needle for Wasteland, but it has the crop. I'm not going to put this away. I could hang on to the Coolamog and just try to work my way up to casting it, but I already have something to work my way up and cast as the Primetime, so Coolamog can go away. I'm just going to play Forest Go. Just let that go. Okay, I kept my crop and I drew a Needle. That's good. Murktide in the bin. Force of Will, Narset. Those are all things that they might have wanted. Now that I see a Force in the bin, do I want to just crop for a Cloudpost and get that going? So they might not have another Force. I am going to Needle Wasteland this turn. I am just going to hold because it only taps for 1 on this turn anyway. Okay, there's that. They really probably are a Daze deck. Stage, Needle. If I play Cloudpost, I cannot copy with Stage. I kind of want to be able to crop rot for like Eye of Ugin, so I'm going to hold. Okay, that's cool. That gets me Primetime, I think, this turn. If I crop for Cloudpost, playing around Daze, and then on this next turn, I have 2, 4, I have 5, I have 6 mana, which would be just regular old Primetime. Okay, there's Dothy. I have a feeling they're gonna Burning Inquiry. Yeah, I just need to make sure I have my mana under me. Okay. Now I do have the Stage. I could get a Depths. There's a good chance this Green Sun just goes away. Or did I sideboarded the Depths out? I'm gonna get the Post and just put my mana under me. Yes, mana loss. Okay, they're not Burning Inquiring me. That's cool. That counters a Burning Inquiry. Yep, it's a sorcery. And yeah, I cannot Green Sun this turn, but I can next turn. Holding up Warping Whale. Maybe Warping Whale will finally do something this league. It would be awesome if they like LED and try to echo. Okay. Yep, no response. I could get rid of the Yavimaya. Yavimaya is great and all, but having second forest to play around Wasteland seems pretty good. I know I have the Needle, but they could answer that. I'm gonna keep the Yavimaya. Just having anything tap for green is so nice. Thoughtseize. Well, this is Warping Whale time. They do have a force. They pitched Ponder. Okay, well, it's a 2-for-1. They're gonna take the Green Sun, but we have tons of good top decks. Okay, we're untapping into a whole bunch of mana. Please just, I was gonna say an Eldrazi. Chasm's okay. It's just okay, really. Ponder from the opponent. They're casting Brainstorm. Uh-oh, they're cracking. Did they find a Hull Breacher? Another Dothy, okay. Well, Chasm keeps them from clocking me for 6. Chasm will just create its own clock. They're surgicaling the Titans. Yeah, that's a play you can make. Still have all the Eldrazi I can top deck. I can top deck the Eye of Ugin. Green Sun is still okay. A crop rotation would be good because then I can get Eye of Ugin that way. Reclaimer would be nice. Yeah, the Green Sun would get Reclaimer. Come on, top deck. At least that's looks. So tap you. They all represent green. So I can just tap both of these. There's an Coolamog. That I can cast when I play Chasm. I think that's the obvious pick. Play this. I'll sacrifice the forest because I have Yavimaya. And do I just take out both their Dothies or do I try to take them off of mana? Could just be 1 and 1. If I take them off mana, then they have 3. They can cast. I attack, put them to 3. They attack, put me to whatever. I think I like hitting their lands. I'm attacking them this turn to 3 and the next turn to dead. Okay, they're doing that. Say goodbye to Beseiju. Bye, Beseiju. That's smart on their part because they're looking to crack Dothy. If I like draw Emrakul, God, that would be a nightmare. Maybe that's a good reason I should have Coolamog hit the Dothies. Now I am just gonna let the Chasm die because I want to attack. Goodbye. 3, 6, 9, 10. So I can attack and then bounce, recast. That seems pretty good. That was a good draw. And I think this time I am gonna hit their lands again, because they won't be able to activate Gaia Reach Sanitarium. They don't have red for Burning Inquiry currently. If I just take them off of their Dothies, okay, they're just conceding. If I take them off their Dothies, then I don't have to worry about Gaia Reach. I'm not sure. Now that I'm seeing all of these Dothies, maybe I do want Tabernacle. I thought about getting Depths in that game. Pithing Needle naming Dothy Voidwalker seems pretty good too. I'm going to bring the Depths in because they're not a white deck. They don't have Plow, they don't have Ending, and maybe Outland Liberator can go. I still haven't seen a Helm or anything like that, but they might have it. Tower of the Magistrate I think doesn't really have much relevance here, but it taps for a color or colorless. Warping Wheel came up, they forced it, but it came up. Burning Inquiry is a sorcery. There's a lot of things I can hit with it. I'm looking at one of the Eldrazi. Maybe it's Promised End. I think maybe it's Promised End in this matchup. I don't want to regret cutting Liberator if I do. They are thoughts. I could like Thoughtseize themselves and then like cast Force of Will or their own removal spell on their creatures or something. Like it could be good, but these two kind of are more guaranteed. So I finally found a Carpet, but there's no green mana to cast it. Emrakul and Coolamog in hand. It's basically a 5-card hand. Mulligan. This is okay. I will keep on the fact that I have Needle on Wasteland. If I draw an untapped source, I can untap on turn. On turn 2, I can hold up Warping Whale. I can put back the second Needle, or I could put back the second Reclaimer. I think it's second Needle. As much as I want to name Wasteland and Dothy, Reclaimer actually gets me gets my game plan going. I need green for it, but we'll get there. Okay, play Caracas, play Needle. Hopefully it resolves. If they force, then they force. They have Spell Pierce. That's messed up, man. Alright, so we're probably getting our Caracas wastelanded. Okay, they played Wasteland, but they didn't use it yet. Interesting. I think just making my land drop makes sense, despite the Wasteland. I'm gonna have to eat this at some point now that it's already in play. Unless I just have a forest to put into play and crop rotation, but I don't have either of those things. I'm smelling that they're gonna waste the Cloudpost and surgical it, but there's not much I can do. I'm gonna move to second main. Maybe they'll just do it now. No. Yeah, I'm gonna just do it. They're probably gonna waste surgical, if I had to guess. I've won many games where opponents do that. Okay, they're doing it. They're probably just letting me go to my draw step. Yep, I knew it. See, when they're just sitting there with a wasteland and not using it right away, it just tells me they want to use it on something juicy, because they have something like this. So Vesuva can copy Volk. Maybe this wasn't a keep. You guys should have mulliganed. Just the Spell Pierce on Wasteland was brutal. Or the Spell Pierce on Needle. Thoughtseize. One of the Reclaimers makes sense. They probably have a removal spell for the other one if I find a green source. I really just want to keep making land drops. Can I draw land, please? That's good. Get that in there. Now I'm representing Whale, at the very least. Now I can use Stage to copy the island, just so it can't be wastelanded. It doesn't matter too much, but that's just a little optimization. Liberator can't cast that. Yeah, I really need a green source. This is pretty bad. And now I'm not actually holding up Warping Whale anymore because I did that. I wasn't thinking about that. I'm getting thrown off so hard by this weird deck. It's kind of unbelievable. I'm gonna do this because I can fetch Taiga. Sure. Okay, so that's a thing. They only have one card in hand. If I jam Purifier, I get got by Daze, but this does stop that thing from attacking me. And if they draw Wasteland, doesn't get me, I'm just gonna hope it's not Daze. Okay. They have to fetch to Fatal Push that? They have something. They have Petty Theft. Okay. There you go. That's cool. If I fire that off, they currently don't have Force. They don't have Hardcast Force. So now is the time to do it. So I'm going to float mana. They surgicaled my Cloudposts out of the deck, so it can't be that. I kept Dark Depths in the deck? Yes. So I get Depths, and then I can just make it. They just used a Petty Theft. They would have to have another one right away. Let's see what you got. Another Petty Theft would just be messed up. Keep the correct one. Okay. Your go. Okay, they're flashing in the creature. Of course, that makes sense. They're getting looks. Now, of course, I could have just passed and done that in their end step, but that gives them a chance to draw a blue card for Force or make a land drop for Hardcast Force. I really just like doing that while they had only had one card in hand. Who knows how many Brazen Borrowers they play. Hopefully just like 2 and they don't find one. Another crop rotation. So what I can do with that is crop rotate for... I don't have Sajiri step, but I can get Maze. And then in the end of combat step, I can use Maze to untap. Okay, no, I actually sided that out. I'm going to attack. At the very least, it represents colorless mana for Warping Whale if they cast a sorcery that I want to counter. Okay, 2 and 3. That was rough. That was a very rough league. I'll move into the deck screen and talk about it. Okay, so here we are after the league. We just went 2 and 3. I am a little disheartened by that, but I am not by any means gonna say that this deck is bad. I really enjoy this deck. I think it's really good. We paired into basically 5 combo decks. That final deck was just some weird fringe thing, but it was a combo deck. It was Hullbreacher, Wheel Your Hands Away. They were just doing their own version of it with Burning Inquiries, which is it's fun. As far as changes to the deck goes, maybe I don't actually like Bane of Progress. I play this in paper for my store's meta, and I like it there, but I think online I need more like turn zero interaction. I kept running into these Storm and Reanimator decks and stuff. I could make it a third Macabre. I like Firespout. It came up, it was good, and I sided it in several matchups. If I had drawn it in that final game, I would have loved it. Maze of Ith being in the sideboard, I gotta think about that a little bit more. In this league, it did belong in the sideboard, and I enjoyed Tabernacle in the main, so I'm gonna go with that for the online metagame. Promised End, I still like it more than Kozilek, and I still think it's great. It's in those spots where I have a ton of mana and I just need to top deck a threat. It's still great. Um, it just ends up getting sideboarded out sometimes, and that's okay. The one main deck Endurance, I could possibly bring another one in for another sideboard slot. Perhaps go down on my Warping Whales. However, I do still like this card. I think it's still pretty good. It came up in quite a few spots. Just being able to cast it is the difficult part sometimes. That's kind of how this deck rolls. It can be a little bit clunky. The four needles are still very much mandatory. We could see in one of those games where we played three needles and just basically prisoned out the opponent. That's what needles here for. All of this stuff is staple. There's no moving this stuff around or this. Fourth prime time could be a consideration, but I think three is the correct number. Root Path Purifier came up in a couple spots, and I actually like it. It's better than I thought it would be. For paper, I still prefer Moloch, but this is actually very good. I am definitely going to keep this in the list. Collector Roof main deck, also going to keep that for the online metagame. We didn't run into any Stoneforge decks, so Tower of the Magistrate didn't come up, but I still like it. I still like that it taps for colorless to cast Warping Whale. I like it better than one of these other things like Maze that doesn't tap for mana at all. The two fetch lands and three fetchables thing didn't come back to hurt me, and I've been playing it like that for quite some time. It's still good. Overall, I like the build. I might make a couple little tweaks here, but I'm going to continue playing this deck, and hopefully we'll just pair into some better matchups. How about some Jeskai control next time, huh? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.